Share it.
Yeah, share it. Hello, everybody. We're still waiting on Adam. He's making a fresh piping hot cup of Crigler coffee. Although you at home could have the Geek grind or coffee brand coffee. More coffee in the world, the better. Okay. But we got some breaking news that's not Ancient Aliens right now.
Yeah, it's
just
hot, at the desk.
Super hot off the presses. It's entertainment stuff. It's unbelievable.
This is Hollywood Reporter.
Bob Iger's going back to Disney. Bob Chapek is out. I thought Bob Chapek was going to turn things around. I guess not. And if you think this is going to change Disney's ways, you're fucking crazy. You're crazy. It's going to be more of the same. Everything we've been watching, Bob Iger initiated. So don't think this shit's going to change. I just got off the phone with somebody who I can't tell you right now, who just told me, if you think things are bad now, wait for the next couple of years. They're getting so much worse. Maybe I'll be able to tell you who that person was who told me, and we'll talk to that person. I'm sorry. I hate to do that to you. I really do. But I mean, I literally just got off the phone with him 15 minutes ago. Holy shit. We will talk about Apocalypse. Don't worry. But we had to start it off with this. Maybe we can make it a short on the daily. What do you think of this, Quarter Black?
I'm not really surprised because whenever he left, he didn't really feel like he was really leaving. You know, nobody's ever really gone. And he didn't go. It was, I don't know. There was something about it that just didn't feel like he was officially gone forever. And wow, look, it came back. I think what he did is he was like, look, I'm seeing that there's these lockdowns coming around the corner. There's all this stuff going on. We're going to be in this flux period for a while, Hollywood as a whole. Let me pass it off to somebody else. He could be the fall guy. And then at the crux of that, the very bottom, I come in, sweep in, and I look like the hero. Look at me. I came in, saved Disney. That's what he's going to try and do.
Bailed when things got tough, came back, and now he's going to look like the hero at this point. Although he initiated all this shit, he bailed out during COVID. He's freaking old. Okay, the guy's ancient, so he's probably going to be there to hopefully, like you said, right the ship. But like, you can't right this ship.
Nope. It's not going nowhere.
In his email that just came out a couple of days ago, we need to make this company more nimble. That's probably the thing that stood out to me the most, because they know they're in deep shit and they can't turn things around. I'm sure Kevin Feige had so much to do with this. I'm sure Kevin Feige, who, by the way, put too much on his own damn plate, but now all the pressure's on him and saying like, dude, we got to get this guy out of here, and they need a fall guy. But the thing is, Bob Chapek didn't write all the shitty scripts for Disney Marvel or Disney Star Wars. Kathleen Kennedy should be gone. How is she still there? She fucked up the biggest IP in the world.
About to do it again. With Indy.
Kevin Feige ain't much better. As my good friend Ryan Kinnell pointed out in his video that I'm going to mention in my video, is Black Panther not only lost a lot of money compared to its predecessor, it lost 40% of its audience. People are paying more. People are paying more for tickets. So you're charging fewer people more money. This is a gimmick that the comic industry has been surviving on barely for the last 20 years. It doesn't work. It doesn't grow your industry. It just prolongs the death. Hollywood's in big trouble. Got another video coming out on that. I won't say too much about it.
It's so good. You know, the Schadenfreude is just it's everywhere. It's everywhere right now.
Fans, you won again. You won again. Now, yes, we lose our IPs, but you go up against the fandom at your own peril. How many fucking times do we need to tell you, Hollywood? You're fucking losing because you're making woke garbage, and people are tired of woke garbage. They just want good stories. That's all. It's really this guy's
incapable of producing good
No,
stories. He
this
just
guy-
what else does he have to purchase? He's
What-
purchased every
he has
IP.
nothing to buy. He has nothing to buy. All this guy did was buy shit. Disney doesn't innovate shit. They don't innovate anything. And Warner Brothers, who is massively in debt, is at least trying something. They at least like, hey, let's get James Gunn. That's a smart move.
Let's
On
mix it
paper,
up.
smart move. Will it work? I don't know. I thought Kathleen Kennedy was a smart move on paper too. Shows you what I know. Turns out Frank Marshall is why we have a Kathleen Kennedy. It's
Frank Marshall, Steven Spielberg,
Frank Marshall
George
was
Lucas.
Lucasfilm. It might be better.
That might be a different story. But yeah, I just don't know what he could possibly bring to the table that he already didn't bring the first 10 years he was there.
So let's read a little bit, and we'll clip this out and I'll put it on daily or something like that, right? But then we'll get into the ancient apocalypse. I promise.
Yeah.
I promise. In a stunning turn of events, the Walt Disney Company says that Bob Chapek will step down as CEO, with Bob Iger returning to lead the company and continue their not-so-secret gay agenda. We thank Bob Chapek for his service and becoming the fall guy so I can look good. Sorry, I just put that in there myself, but that's what he's really thinking.
Between the lines.
To Disney over the long career, including navigating the company through the unprecedented challenges of the pandemic, said Susan Arnold, chairman of the board. The board has concluded that as Disney embarks on an increasingly complex period of industry transformation, Bob Iger is uniquely situated to lead the company through this pivotal period. Will he fire Kathleen Kennedy next? Bob Iger just got re-upped. So that's you that's it. So that tells you how much re-upping a contract means in Hollywood.
That means jack all.
Yeah, you want to show people that you're serious, fire Kathleen Kennedy and restructure Lucasfilm completely. Maybe start by going, hey, Georgie boy, could you come and help us for a couple years, year, please? Pretty, please. Not saying he's the best dancer in the world, but he is the creator, so you should probably ask him first.
And you know, if they did that, I would want George to just go,
I think we should fire everybody and
wipe everybody, give it back to me.
Your shitty cannon. No, he won't. He won't do it, dude. He's made so much money off this. So
what is he in his late 80s?
Yeah,
no, I mean early 80s, right?
Biggest admission of failure without admitting failure of all time.
I love how Hollywood Reporter too paints it in such a he's coming in to save the day. He's the white knight Disney needs right now. No. You know, I don't like Bob Chapek at all.
No,
but at least he's different than Bob Iger. You're just going back to the same crafty. They're looking at the numbers and going, the time that we had was so good. It must be because of Bob Iger, not because the stories were better, because the economy was better at the time. It must be because him. He's the one that could save us. Wrong.
Wow. That's big news. There'll be many videos and live streams, and hell, I'll probably have a nooner tomorrow to talk about it.
This dropped 22 minutes ago.
22 minutes ago. So breaking news here on the Ancient Apocalypse live stream. Start immediately. So for more Disney news, come back tomorrow. We'll be talking about it tomorrow. Okay, go on Nerdrotic. But now, and again, I'll clip that out and put it on daily, and then tonight sometime. But Adam's getting some coffee. And I told him to take his time. So we're gonna head right into. We kind of went over the whole series. I want to go over the last 2 episodes particularly, because I think that built up to the crescendo, and then we're going to go over a little bit of a Randall Carlson clip that he released about a week ago about the megafauna that disappeared at the Younger Dryas boundary, right in around them. We're talking giant beasts that used to live in America. 4 species of elephant. Used to
Right here.
roam around right around here. 20-foot sloths, 6-foot beavers in Australia, like 12-foot kangaroos.
Could you imagine, man?
What?
I understand why people lived in trees. You don't want to go down there. The short snout, what was it? The short snout bear? Short nose bear? That thing is like a freaking mega truck. It's huge.
Yeah, giant woolly rhinos that are like a school bus. I mean, giant animals that all disappeared right around the same time. And the reason being was they were overhunted. There's lots of problems with that, including there was millions of these animals and only thousands of humans. And the humans that quote unquote hunted them, nobody's ever found a sign of them other than arrowheads. The Clovis people, did you know they have never found a bone of a Clovis person?
I didn't know that.
Nope, not a single finger bone, nothing. They just knew they were there because there was under that boundary, there's a bunch of arrowheads and you know, they found camps and fires and stuff, but no bones. Weird. Well, the reason is humans are very difficult to find. Humans, you have to die a certain way. You have to die in mud, be a fossil. Otherwise, you know, most of the time in ancient history, they just died and they got picked apart. Their bones were split for the marrow by predators. That was it. That was all. No sign.
Scary, man.
Can you imagine if all those animals were still alive? Just didn't die out, how different America would be.
Ooh.
I don't even know if we could have like conquered it, because that was one of the reasons that people weren't here for a long time, is because of stuff like giant bears that are right up there on that
True.
land bridge. Like, it kept us from coming in because there were so many of those and they were just killing us when we get into the area.
Yeah, your whole point of existence is to wake up and not be eaten. So it's not even just I need to not be eaten by the apex predator, the short-faced bear, which is like a cat bear. It's a giant cat bear with fucking super long legs and arm, you know, just the thing. It could kill dire wolves. It could kill anything. It was just a deadly beast.
And thus began the emasculation of men.
The long emasculation.
Yes. Let us hear.
Long emasculation. Hi, Adam. How are you?
I'm good. I've been trying to get my camera working, and I think my input card is kaput. It's not doing it. So unfortunately,
It sucks.
Yeah, I was having some Windows issues earlier with my
there was an update
card. I think it was an update.
Maybe it's Windows. Maybe the update killed it. It did. My computer updated automatically yesterday. Like, I was in the middle of something, I didn't update it. It just was like updating.
I choose it's now.
Yeah, it's now.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Fuck what you're doing. Like, all right.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah. Fucking Bill.
Jeez.
He's trying to update your booster and your computer all at the same time. And he can fuck all the way off.
Yep.
Agreed.
All right. Yeah. So we're on the 8th episode. Let me turn the sound off. I wanted to hit the last 2 episodes.
Okay.
Because those are like fascinating to me. How do you pronounce the cave structure in Turkey again?
I don't remember.
Oh yeah, dude, that was such a cool episode. After last episode, I went and binged the last 3 episodes with the turkey, and how they were trying to say that was a place for them to go hide during a battle, and I'm like, why would you dig?
Bullshit.
No way. Why would you dig a giant?
You couldn't get
like,
that
society
much
down there,
right? Oh, battle's coming. All right, let's start this long, arduous journey of digging an entire complex for 10,000 people.
It's
like, it's so cool though. It's such a cool complex.
Or something like that. It's not Gobekli Tepe, but it's and these are not giant penises. They're called fairy chimneys.
That's what I call mine.
Yeah, I guess they're a natural structure So,
And this is in
and
the same area, right?
yeah, this is
So I
like
think the rock is just really soft.
on. Yeah, it's puffed. It's volcanic ash turned into rock.
So it's really easily mined out, so they could build that
And
whole
the
complex
and
fairly.
yeah,
I mean, I say easily, but more easy than like bedrock or slate.
yeah, they still had to dig. They dug 15,000 air ducts.
Yeah, well, dude, the cross section when you got to get to the cross section because that
Sharing to you.
is such
Sharing
a cool shot because you really see it's not just this complex. They dug wells, and I think it's what is it called? Like the Eternal Well is the name, like what the name of it means. They dug like 3 massive wells, all of these air ducts to filter oxygen, and they had kitchens and all this stuff.
They had stables for animals,
Yes.
and it can hold thousands and thousands of people. And we talked about this last week, Adam. There's hundreds of these.
Yep,
And
hundreds of them.
And if you just go to 2 levels, there's even more.
Yep.
Insane.
And they say this was to hide from barbarians? No. No.
That doesn't make sense because the big huge wheels that they could roll as doors were soft. So any invading army would just break them down. Like, oh, this is their door. Throw a sword at it and it like chinks away. And it's like, all right, well, we can just break this door down. Not a very good door against an army, if you ask me.
I legit want to live in this place. It looks so cool.
I
want to live down there, man.
Feral Garrett. I just imagine really long hair, long nails.
No, see, it's so. I'm not even feral. It's a nice society down here. All right, we got kitchens, we got restaurants, we got animals. Like, look at this little hallway. So he's walking on this hallway, and there's an air vent right there.
Yeah,
to like circulate oxygen through the whole complex.
Near anything. So there's this little town that's near it, but this actual structure, whatever it is not near any major city, any major settlement.
It's in the middle of the desert.
It was in the middle of the desert, and somebody found it when they were renovating their house in 1963.
You know what I didn't get?
Oops.
What information I didn't hear? What elevation this is at? Because everything about this series is about that flood and surviving the flood, you know. So all these like mountaintop villages in like Greece and stuff, everything kind of starts to make more sense. You look at Sunderland, or what is now Indonesia, that first episode. It's like it was all at the very tops of stuff to avoid water coming in. But this, who knows where this is? It couldn't be anywhere near where it could flood. But damn, look at that. It's amazing.
They're trying to also in this show, they said it's along the Silk Road at some point. It's like a junction point on the Silk Road. So
right.
So
this could be a city, like a full-on city where they had commerce and everything.
Yeah, it's 85 meters deep. That's the water table under there. And they just built right up to the water table. The oldest levels are the first 2. And then it was added to over just hundreds of years. There's these big shafts right here that let the air in, and then there's the ducts everywhere. Yeah. So this is a feat of engineering we could do today, but it would be extremely difficult. And why would you do it?
Right.
Especially the air ducts. Like that is a feat of engineering that is what?
Gary, why do you think they built this?
Oh, to hide from a cataclysm. And it could be, I think this one actually leans me towards Robert Schoch's theory over the comet theory, because I think they both kind of happened. I think but Robert Schoch's theory is a giant flare came off the sun and hit the earth head on. And we had this giant plasma storm that was like a massive, think lightning, but like 100 times bigger, just melting the earth. Just it's hitting certain points, and it hit the ice shelf. Now there's 2 theories. The more scientific one, well, Robert Schoch's is scientific. He's a scientist. He's an actual academic, but there's more of a group of scientists who believe that we passed through the stream, basically the stream of a comet, and over a period of time, the Earth was bombarded, and some of that bombardment hit the ice shelf, and I mean, in a geological terms, instantly melt it, and it caused massive floods, caused the ocean to rise 400 feet over time, and we also had, once if there's an impact on the Earth and it's big enough, it shoots off ejecta. Ejecta is just ground that goes right back in the atmosphere and comes back down as another meteor. It's just smaller and it's spread out, so it catches the world on fire. And somehow people survived, and the one way to survive is to get your ass in a cave. Now, how did they have time? That's the question.
That's my question, is like the time it takes to build something like this. How long does it take to build one room? And then trying to like extrapolate that through all of these, at least the first two. Dude, maybe there was already a cave there and they kind of just like ran into it and then just started building out. And then like,
it makes me think of Graham talking about how in all of the different or not all, but like most of the civilizations around the planet, they all had the flood theory embedded in their stories that they passed along, right? Same with the idea of the snake, which we've come to identify as the comet or the meteor coming to hit. So if they survived and they were passing along this calamity story of this happened from the sky, the gods were mad and they sent down fire, and the only way to survive it was to go underground. We need to build this up. It's almost like they learned from their previous generations, like we need to build a place that we can escape both the floods or the fire from the sky, which is why I feel we're finding all these mountaintop cities, like the one in Indonesia from episode 1, or this one in Turkey where this is like all underground. They're trying to set up a base that they can someone actually said the underground bunkers are death traps for massive flood scenarios unless it's built high enough that the floods won't even get to. Or this area, so this is Turkey, right? Turkey is far enough away from where Canada would have been. Like in one of these episodes, they show the map of where the floods really affected, because Africa wasn't really affected by the floods. Not saying it wasn't, but for the most part. Okay, someone actually just said this elevation is 4,200 feet, 4,200 feet. So this wouldn't have been affected by the 400 feet of increased sea levels.
Nope.
Right?
Yeah.
So these people wouldn't have had a flood story in their history. They would have had the sky calamity, something from the sky that came. Maybe it was that solar flare. So like in their culture, for them to escape the biggest thing that would have ever happened was something from the sky, which is they need to get underground.
Absolutely. And Graham brings this up later, where there is, I'm going to sneeze, damn it. Oh, sorry.
Get it. Get it.
I always sneeze twice too. Sorry, folks.
Way to keep it consistent.
Yeah, I try to. So there is it's either a Sumerian, Mesopotamian. There is a myth that's like the flood myth. It's like Noah's Ark, except some people dug
and went
around and took all the animals with them. Instead of an ark, they dug this and took 2 animals with them. And while this might be Noah's Ark, and it might not have the flood was part of the story, but it just is absolute calamity. What Randall has said over and over again, it was like hell on earth for 1,000 years. Like it was bad. It was really, really bad. And just keep in mind all the megafauna and it was localized. It wasn't like the extinction of the dinosaurs, which was planet wide. Everything died. I think Randall talked about this. Within a decade, everything was dead. All the dinosaurs were dead. This one took a little longer. Plus, most of the damage was in Europe and North and South America.
So these are like on the edges.
Siberia.
And
Well,
Siberia.
that's what I'm thinking is like it wasn't a one explosion and done. Like this was over a long period of time, and people had to go, okay, well, we can't sustain life out on top of the earth. So let's start going into caves and digging that stuff out and living underground. And that would explain why it would, like, the large time frame it takes to build these structures and why they went underground. Is if it was something like every year during the same part of the year, we go through this meteor shower that
Twice a
does a
year.
lot of twice a year, right?
year,
That does a
yeah.
lot of
We're
damage
getting hit
that
by
makes us
stuff.
go underground.
And it doesn't have to like be a cataclysm every time. It could just be some pretty big meteors blowing up in the sky above you.
Right,
And that
yeah.
would scare you enough to like, maybe we should not
Let's
be
just, like,
on the surface right
you
now.
know, it's like nice and cool down there. You
Yeah.
go down just like a few feet and it's the same temperature the
Well,
whole
and the
way.
thing is, the temperature is like really even down there, and it makes
Yep.
a lot of sense.
You think about it too, right? We've been going through this meteor stream twice a year for
Ever.
who the fuck knows, ever, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so who knows if like the larger pieces have already hit us, that have already burned up and caused a lot of death over the years of, you know,
Yeah.
10,000 years of human exist or longer. Who knows how long we've been dealing with this kind of shit. It's like nowadays we pass through the Taurid meteors and we're like, look, oh, little streaks in the sky, like woo. Everyone get out and check out those meteorites.
Get your
Look at the
binoculars.
comet.
Yeah, right.
Look at that.
Where like 10,000 years ago, that was like fear. You see
So like
one of those things-
everybody that the sky
that's
gods
death.
are attacking
you see
us. we
that
need to go
fire in the
underground.
sky, that means you're dead.
Yeah.
Well, that's a lot of people think that the myths, the Greek myths, are all derived from people actually witnessing celestial events.
Mhm.
And there's actually some myths that directly say that. So, you know, I think it's what Neptune's on its side. Venus rotates backwards than opposite than any other planet. We don't know how the moon got here. We don't know how there's a 23.5 degree tilt, why there's a 23.5 degree tilt with our planet. Didn't start out that way. We don't know. There's lots of theories, but like science, that's the thing Graham talks about, is science loves to act like they got, like, they're great. We love science, except for when they experiment with fucking
Unless you're not allowed to question anymore. We'll just say that.
Yeah. But
what I don't like about it is whenever they come up with a hypothesis and then go, that is it.
That's it.
That's it. Like you just said, they've never found a Clovis body. Like they've never found bones. They've never found people from that era, but they say it is real. They are
Science
this.
is settled.
That is, science is settled. We're done.
Science is settled.
I don't like that kind of, like,
we had a dust bowl and everybody was riding a fucking horse around, but we figured it out.
Yeah, I'm not into that kind of like, that is it. Nobody questions. So
no, that's the problem. It's become dogmatic.
And you could see it's like, if we can't get current facts right to each other from day-to-day events and today, how can we possibly think that we have everything nailed down in thousands and thousands of years ago, like prehistory? Like, no, there's no way.
So what you're saying is the moon is actually a space station, and
it's hollow, and on the inside it's a dragon. It's the dragon
That's
sleeping.
That's where the Clovis people are.
The dragon will come out.
Clovis people went to the dragon inside the moon base. Didn't you know?
That makes sense. They don't want us to know it.
Yeah, I know. Tinfoil hat on again.
Yeah, the Artemis. So the Artemis 1, it's approaching the moon right now.
It is.
And they're doing a flyby. It's like, imagine, you know, they've got a live stream of the camera on the moon. It's like suddenly you see like some guy like look up and like flick off the camera. And it's just like some dude in his underwear. Like he's got some sheep outside, like, get off my lawn.
He's got some lunar sheep.
Do they have a camera on that? I want to watch that.
Yeah, they do.
They do? Is it getting close to the moon yet? Or it should be today or tomorrow. Yeah,
let me
check.
They're live streaming it right now.
Yeah, that's crazy. How in the fuck did it take us so long to go back? It's so ridiculous. Last time when we first landed, it was like a month before I was born. That's when we first landed. It's a long time.
How long?
It's a long time ago. All right, so Graham goes through this place and he's talking to this guy and he's like, yeah, it's big and people made it. And we don't know why. We don't know who. We don't know how. I mean, you could see like they chiseled their way in the first 2 levels. It was definitely, you could see chisel marks. So they know that. And he said there's big enough areas to be for stables, but he's all, other than that, there's been 0 carbon dating of this place. So,
well, there's nothing
afraid.
left, right? Didn't he say there's nothing to actually carbon date? Like
no, it's been occupied so much over history, it's just contaminated. It's absolutely contaminated. So I think it's pretty believable that it's a bunker, considering there's a bunch more, and this isn't the only country they're in.
Yeah.
And, then thinking back to the other sites, they Göbekli Tepe has 4 or 5 things buried underneath it. Underneath, like what was that? Or even the spot in Indonesia.
Yep.
That was very clearly 3 different chambers that are huge underneath. So that was actually 2. It was a bunker and avoiding the flood because it was up on top of one of the highest peaks in the area. It's like, maybe
well, the pyramids in Egypt, like there's chambers in there. They never found any mummies inside of the tombs. They say they're tombs, but they never found them.
Right.
And why are there these giant cavities in there? What were they for? Bunkers. They just built the bunkers on top.
So RE, by the way, thank you. Who first? It was Safi for 450. I'm just gonna say Martian pesos because I don't know what type of money that is, but thank you. It all counts. It all counts. You worked for it. REK Thoughts for $5 says, isn't it amazing? Science tells us the Bible is fantastical and fake, yet it keeps proving it true. There's a lot of stuff that's in there that they said was just a myth, and then they found it. So yeah, that keeps happening. And it's a whether you're Christian or not, it's a historical document that's got a lot of historical stuff in it. Can't deny that at all. But that's what kept science like held back for so long. They just did not want there to be a flood theory, period. Because they wanted
so against it.
Because they were so anti-religion. How fucking lame is that?
Yeah.
Whenever science, it came from trying to understand God's creation and getting closer to that, and then it flipped to completely anti everything. I don't even want to look at that. There's no flood. It never happened. Don't disregard the like 200 some odd myths of flood theories, like of flood myths. Like, you're not going to take that into account. Okay.
It's BCE and BC, even though the time is set directly the same. So it's still, it's like the same thing. It's the same shit. Who cares?
So retarded. I don't. It's always going to be BC to me, before Christ. And that's it. So I'm not surprised to hear this, and that's another thing that keeps a lot of, and you know what's, and I'll tell you why. It's because when you go to South America and they say Quetzalcoatl, not Quetzalcoatl, but the equivalent to Quetzalcoatl, I'm blanking on his name right now. It's feathered serpent, same thing. And Quetzalcoatl, that these civilization bringers were not from, but that's common in South America. It's common in all the other places. It's some guy who came from the ocean who had a beard. Nobody necessarily said he's white, but I think that's been imprinted on it. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see this at all. I wouldn't be surprised that they're like,
didn't they describe him as a different skin color than them? That's why they were like, he's set apart. He's different than us.
It said red hair, light skinned. The Netflix history series promotes white supremacy. Articles on this are already out as of 2 days ago. Apparently, I wouldn't be surprised. They've been out for a long time, and that's why
I read it. It's hilarious.
Shurzo, was it?
If I can find it.
Shurzo. That's our media for us, and that's why we're grateful here on YouTube. Content creators are grateful, and you should be grateful now, because now you are the reporters. We don't need them because they're stupid. And quite frankly, you're like, God, it should not be this easy. But if you look at some of the people writing this article, and then you go, okay, I understand how easy this is. Yeah, I understand.
I would like to know the actual viewing numbers of articles from big websites. It's got to be like in the hundreds, if even 100.
Yeah,
it's only people making videos on these articles. Like, it's got to be. I don't feel like anybody's actually reading these.
They aren't, except for us. But dude, I read a dumb one. Oh, you saw it. It was in our last video. It's in the video that's coming out.
Yeah.
That one girl, she wrote 2 dumb ones in a row. Did you see the article she wrote before that? On like how Top Gun is jingoistic, pro-military, and people have a problem with twerking in She-Hulk. Oh my God. You know, it's like, how could you like Top Gun and have a problem with twerking? And it's like, I don't even know when you put those together. I don't know how you put those together, but you did it, lady. So yeah, we reread an article from her. She ain't very smart.
These are geniuses we're working with.
Yeah. Not very smart. Jeff Atkins for $10 says, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Me and all my homies always dig complex tunnels, stone doors, and houses through rock. Totally normal hanging out underground.
Totally normal behavior.
People were running for barbarians, Jeff.
I found it.
They're like, hold up, barbarian. Let me dig this hole.
Yeah, let me dig this hole. And then so your ancestor doesn't attack me. You got it in the private chat there. Yeah, you
got it.
Look at you. You got it? You got it? Oh my God. No.
So stupid, dude.
Graham Handcock.
Graham, I'm so sorry. Like Graham.
Wow.
Graham is like a liberal dude, but he's like almost like libertarian. He doesn't want he's not like a communist or anything. He definitely wants I hate to use this word, but like a world run basically by small communities, you know?
Yeah.
Not different from what Eric July wants. That's the kind of politics he is.
Like, I want everybody running little communes, taking
ayahuasca
and rooms.
Right. He hates all centralized anything. I mean, and that guy gets so much fucking shit. Like, he gets so much shit. So does Randall. Randall's based, by the way. Randall's based.
Can't wait to have a conversation with that man.
I can't wait. No, he's based. That dude's based as fuck. Graham Hancock's Ancient Apocalypse Netflix series promotes racist conspiracy theories, claim archaeologists.
What a coincidence.
Oh my God. Why didn't they just call him Hitler? I mean, Graham Hitler. That's what he is. Oh, they put Nazi. Okay. Cardiff University. Fucking Cardiff, by the way. I used to love Cardiff because that's where they filmed Doctor Who, but now it's a bunch of nuts. Cardiff University archaeologist is among those accusing series of promulgating far-right and Nazi ideology, but supporters of lost civilization hypothesis say woke argument from academia is a sign of desperation and jealousy. I agree. It is. It is. Yeah. He's like, for one, like a lot of these archaeologists, I'm not going to say that we might have some out there. Those of you out in the field, you rock. You're awesome. We love you. Get out there, get out in the field, go see the world, get out of your classrooms, get your head out of your fucking books and go see shit. Because that's what Graham's done for decades and called a kook. And like, even when I first heard of him back in the 90s, my whole attitude towards Art Bell was, I don't believe everything I hear, but it's really entertaining. It's super entertaining. And then I'd cut you get Madman Markham, who's a fucking nutball, but then you'd get Richard Dolan, Graham Hancock. You get like legit people who like take a Stanton Freeman, who fucking take a look at this thing and are into the woo woo and monetizing it and starting some fucking meditation cult. They want the truth. They want the fucking truth. And that's who you follow. I mean, it's a handful of guys and gals who are really good. Like, I used to like Linda Moulton Howe, but she went way off the reservation.
What I would like to see here is like, what is your argument for that? Like, how is it white supremacy and Nazi like theory? How? Like, how? Like, what? I bet they don't even give one. I bet they just say it is.
It probably
then
has
move on.
something to do with the indigenous people saying, "Hey, some white folk came over," which is what they said. What they said, not what we said. I was like, really? When? That's weird. And there's stories all the way back. You go to the Native Americans, the indigenous people of California. They talk to one in Search for Ancient Giants. They talk to he's not the chief, but he's like the historian for the tribe, and he's all, yeah, there was a race of white people who lived on Catalina Island in ancient times. What? I mean, that's crazy. That's fucking crazy. But
Is
that's
he a
what
white
he said.
supremacist? Is that?
He probably is.
Is that how it works, archaeologist?
He's not white or a supremacist, but somehow he's a white supremacist.
Right.
Hit Netflix documentary Ancient Apocalypse. It's a hit. Thanks
Yeah,
to
it
you
is.
guys.
Oh,
I think it hit number 2 over the weekend.
Man,
Or
that's
last week
awesome.
sometime.
And fucking Jack from Jack Dorsey.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
Jack Dorsey was like, "This is a great documentary." I was like, "What the Jack?"
Well, he's tripping on ayahuasca as we speak.
He's
So
hearing the ayahuasca, and he's like, "You're speaking my language."
I don't mean to disrespect anybody tripping on ayahuasca. I think there's something to that, by the way. I think there really is. There's like enough anecdotal and scientific evidence to show that there's something to it. I don't know what,
but do your own research. We're not advocating.
Absolutely.
Be
with
safe.
Ayahuasca, do your own research. Be very safe with it. Have your shaman around or whatever.
Yeah, just find a shaman around the corner. Everybody's got one.
Oh, California.
Talk to him. Ask him questions.
I think you
1-800 rent a shaman.
Yeah,
I think in California you can probably have a legal ayahuasca trip now.
Oh really?
Really?
Yeah, if it's supervised, I'm pretty sure. Well, freaking shrooms are legal there
You
now.
have to get the little circle throw pillows, put them around a table, have a fire.
When you poop your pants,
Is that part of it?
that's part of it.
I don't want to do that.
Depends are extra.
I'm out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you can throw up on shrooms. You don't poop your pants.
That's if you take too much, right?
I always took too much, so I always threw up. So
like, yes.
yeah, I don't want to just get kind of high. I want to get really high.
Vomit.
Again, do your own research on that stuff. I don't recommend it for everybody. All right, so where was I? Are claiming, however, an independent research. Oh, I didn't read this part. Hit Netflix documentary Ancient Apocalypse promotes white supremacy and racist conspiracy theories. Archaeologists, including a research fellow, says archaeologists, including a research fellow. That's not an archaeologist. That's a research fellow.
Bob.
So that's not
a fellow.
Not an archaeologist. At Cardiff University are claiming. Does he put his name on? Do we get a name here? However, an independent researcher and author has said such claims are fueled by jealousy, and that bringing the woke argument is nothing short of desperation on their part in academia. Yeah, like fucking, we're talking about Graham Handcock. Okay, Graham Handcock is not joining the alt-right anytime soon. Okay, just saying.
Such a tiresome argument, man.
Just
Anything
wait.
I don't like, it's
Just
white
just
supremacy.
wait till they explain it. It's so bad.
Fuck.
It's the worst non-explanation ever.
Is it
Of
because he
course.
talked to Joe Rogan? Is that it?
Oh no.
The show narrated by author Graham Handcock. Good man. Give him a follow on Twitter.
Oh,
He's going to be doing a speech in Palm Springs, but it's part of some like super corporate thing. Don't go to that. Go to the one in North Carolina with Randall Carlson. That's in June of next year. Little pricey, but if you want to see the man, you can make it. Go. I'm going. Garrett and I and Mrs. Nerdrotic will be there.
we're gonna make a trip.
Yeah. And I don't know. Maybe Adam.
Oh man.
Maybe Adam can go.
I'm interested.
All right. Okay, so the show narrated by author Graham Handcock, theorizes that an advanced civilization was all but wiped out by a catastrophe, climate change, and floods around 12,800 years ago. It's not just Graham Handcock. It's over 100 scientists now. Mr. Handcock suggests that the ancient apocalypse was caused by a series of comet strikes that triggered a 1,000-year-long mini ice age, a period known as the Younger Dryas. Well, we know the 1,000-year-long mini ice age that just started back up out of nowhere happened, and there is absolutely no explanation for it. But people are trying now. He believes the survivors from a lost high culture then helped restart civilization, sharing their knowledge and skills with the tribes of hunter-gatherers who mainstream archaeologists and academics insist were the only human cultures that existed at the end of the Ice Age. Well, yeah, they were, because the other ones were wiped out. Scientists and skeptics do appear to be slowly coming around on the theory known as the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. Keep in mind it's hypothesis, and neither Graham nor Randall or any of these scientists have said this is what happened. They think there's a lot of evidence, but we're open. What they have been begging for is for mainstream, fuck them, by the way, to just look at the shit, which they wouldn't do. So when there's an anomaly, when you find an anomaly, a lot of times they just ignore it, or they try to debunk it, like that bowl. What's it called? It's a bowl with Sumerian writing on it that they found in South America. It's got cuneiform. Help me out. What's the name of the bowl? And the guy was feeding his pigs with it.
What the fuck?
I was feeding his pigs with a hunt.
I need to fix pig. How do I fix pig?
Somebody in the chat.
I had this bowl.
Will know it. I'll bring up a picture of it. So a guy dug up a bowl, was feeding his pigs with it. Museum comes by and says, "Holy shit, that is cuneiform."
That belongs in a museum.
We'll give you a house for the bowl. So they traded him a house for the bowl.
I'll like, yes. Can I have another pig?
Yeah.
Start wheeling and dealing.
Yeah, I would have. I would have asked for another pig for sure.
What's my bowl? I want two houses.
So it's a hypothesis, in other words. It's
just go to the next
let's go.
chunk. Here we go. Yeah, this is where it begins.
However, the existence of lost civilizations such as Atlantis is still vehemently disputed by mainstream archaeologists, and some argue such claims repurpose long debunked and racist conspiracy theories. How is Atlantis?
How so?
Are Atlanteans white?
I didn't even. I don't know. Actually, I've never actually thought about what their race would be.
Well, the Egyptians told Plato's ancestor about it, so it came from Egypt at least that far back. And
I don't see Egyptians as white.
Well, yeah, they're not. Well, they're light skinned.
No, they're not
compared to maybe deep African people, but
they're like
African.
mid-tone, yeah.
Right, like Middle Eastern.
Yeah. Olive skin, maybe a little darker than olive.
Fuente Magna Bowl. It's Sumerian, so it's a Fuente Magna Bowl. It's not a fact, but it's just one example of something that's really out of place that people just choose to ignore or automatically debunk instead of figuring out the mystery, which is the whole point.
Was Greek.
Yes, she was. And did you text that they found a tunnel that might lead to her tomb?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's what you get when you have women running your society, Pico.
Cleopatra. She was terrible. She was terrible. She had her own
into the ground
brother, and she tried to get her own sister killed and had her own brother killed. She was.
I'm just kidding, people. Mostly just kidding.
Well, look at the Twitter employees. Just saying. Just saying.
Wipe them out, and only the people that were actually working were all the dudes and like 3 women. Weird.
I like what Joe Rogan said on the very first Graham Handcock interview. He said the weird thing is, just think about it, is we're closer to Cleopatra than Cleopatra was to the pyramids.
Yeah.
The estimated
Sphinx,
time that they were built, and the Sphinx.
Right.
And that's just academia's estimates. All right, let's get back to this dumb shit. Like I read enough of these stupid
I know.
every day. However, the existence of been debunked in a huge 40 tweet thread. Okay, dude.
Oh
Oof.
no.
All right, that's like a Carrie Smith stalker length of thread.
Yeah.
55 tweets on Carrie Smith. I like Carrie. Carrie is one of the
Carrie's
most
great.
wonderful
Carrie's awesome.
I've ever met. Like genuine, sweet. She's like a ray of light in this world.
Yeah.
And somebody really fucking hates her.
Yeah, and I had the I had her on my show a bunch of times, like, because she didn't show her that side of her. You know, she was good at manipulating and keeping that hidden.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And then one day we had a debate, and she went off the deep end, and I was like, oh, all right, wow. And then she hasn't been on my show since. She actually unblocked me to try to oh man, she made a 7
Not Carrie
hour
not Carrie Smith.
Not Carrie. No.
Carrie
Carrie Smith stalker. Yeah.
Smith stalker. Yeah.
This woman made a 7-hour rant about my chat and how my chat and how I am evil and how my chat hated her, and she just did a video about like the truth behind like why Adam and Tim, you know, broke up or whatever. And of course it's not true what she said. That's not why I was fired. She's crazy, and of course trying to grift off of anything she can, any information that she finds to be relevant.
It's going after like seriously one of the nicest people in the sphere.
Yeah,
Carrie's awesome.
Like the most wholesome. I've never seen her say anything like really that negative about anybody.
Honest, really nice,
really honest.
It's when you know somebody's secrets, and those secrets are you're a liar and a grifter, and you start to talk about it, then that person lashes out to try to silence you instead of facing up that you're a liar and a grifter. You know what I mean? And Carrie's like, you're a liar, and I don't like that you're taking advantage of people.
Yeah.
Boom. Enemy number one.
And just like went away. You know, that's how you deal with like there's no sense in just getting involved. Like you can't fuck with crazy. Okay.
She literally but one last thing, she literally told her people, she's like, I'm trying to groom you to be like me. She literally said those words. Yikes.
Somebody delusional.
Yikes.
It's always the psychology students.
I don't want nobody being like me.
No.
I just want to hang out, you know, be chill.
Yeah, let's be chill.
That's some weird like cult ideology thinking, man. Like I'm grooming you to be little me's.
It brings all types. I love the internet. I truly do. I love its freedoms and the the Wild West aspect of it, but it comes with its drawbacks as well. Okay, so in a huge 40 tweet thread that has been retweeted by many fellow archaeologists, I'm guessing these probably don't have a ton of likes and retweets.
Yeah, I'd like to see
scientist Dr. Flint Dibble from Cardiff University's School of History, Archaeology, and Religion says in his new Netflix documentary, Ancient Apocalypse, Graham Handcock has declared war on archaeologists. He called your shit out. He did. He called you out. And it's after decades of everybody calling him a pseudoscientist when he's just a reporter, right? And he's just like, all he's saying is like, hey, I noticed these similarities. Isn't it weird? Somebody should look at them.
And then everybody goes, you're a pseudoscientist. Everybody hate this man. He's a kook. And you're like, oh, I just want somebody to look into this.
But not all
you guys
archaeologists are like that. He talks to some. Klaus Schmidt, who helped discover Göbekli Tepe, was really nice to him. So
I think he paints almost all archaeologists in that same brush almost, and he needs to kind of show the other side. Like there are people that are open to listening to
he's working
ideas.
with some.
Yeah, so like he should like highlight that a little bit more. I think you get more archaeologists and scientists on your side by doing that instead of trying to make this adversarial situation.
Graham, he gets. I mean, after
he's scorned,
he's pissed.
I understand. It's like decades of them calling him a kook.
But like the thing is, you can't let it just do your thing because he won. Like he's on a Netflix special, and these fucking idiot archaeologists who are stuck at Cardiff
I'm gonna
can't
look
get a
this
PBS
name up.
BBC special right now, and
Yeah.
and they know like this special is gonna. What it's gonna do is gonna open the door, and maybe we'll find the truth. Is the truth the impact theory or something else? I don't know. That's all anybody wants. That's all anybody wants.
Flint Dibble has his pronouns in his bio.
Oh,
Of course.
So yeah.
Well, that explains everything. Okay.
Just skip this. Just skip this one. Go to the next paragraph.
Atlantis conspiracy theories promote white supremacy. Okay, and then where are we at? The bottom one?
No, look. It says explaining that would take a long essay. So he's not even explaining how it would promote white supremacy. He's literally avoiding it. Oh, that would take too long of an essay. But here's some links.
I told you.
On the top, and see, so that's it right there. That paragraph
that's
is hilarious. I can't explain it, but it just believe me. All right, it would take too long.
Trust me, bro.
I will not.
Okay,
Dibble.
So
that shit had me laughing, dude.
Beautiful fellow members of the audience. This might sound familiar to you. Anybody who's followed Adam or Black or yours truly. It's like they're white supremacists and racists, and we got these theories, and we'll have our Steve Bannon tree, and like we won't link them directly. They're just pipelines and all right.
I said, look, they are associated, so therefore they must be a giant cabal of racist, sexist, homophobes.
Associations.
I told you before we started this, I said they would not have an actual answer. They would just say, these are the facts.
Archaeology is useful to white nationalism, specifically. Fuck.
Yep. You got to read it. You got to do it.
National specifically because it casts doubt on the achievements of BIPOC communities. No, it doesn't. Quite the opposite. Everything your Graham and Randall say is no, these civilizations, which weren't all white, were amazing. They did freaking brilliant stuff, and we want to know how they did it.
And everywhere on the planet. They're saying like they're finding these similarities with all the different civilizations everywhere, all cultures. They all had the same kind of shit. Like,
but you are the ones that want to cut white people out. I think maybe, just maybe, you guys might be the racist here. I got a hypothesis.
Oh
my God.
It's one word that triggers them. It's floods. I guarantee you it's floods. Because they just it's the religious Bible. It's you know what? The Bible has a flood story along with 160 other cultures.
Right.
He didn't even mention the Bible story about the flood in this show.
Good.
He didn't mention it once.
No, he didn't. No.
He mentioned all the other ones that you don't hear about all the time.
So, scientific fact. The oceans were 400 feet lower than they are now, and there was 2 miles of ice above North America and Northern Europe. Where did it go? Did it just evaporate? Did it just disappear? Or maybe it flooded some shit. I'm thinking it flooded some shit. However, indigenous Native Americans and Mesoamerican history traditions, like many others around the globe, do say they were taught arts of civilization from a mysterious others and gods, and tell the cataclysm and floods and other natural disasters that wiped out their predecessors. Yeah, Graham didn't make up these theories. He talked to people and read other books and other scientists who
and Graham didn't go around saying, and all of these other mysterious others and gods were white men.
Yeah,
males.
He's not trying to push some theory that the Atlanteans are a bunch of white guys that are going around.
It's clinking around in Mr. Dibble's head. That's where that is. It's in his head where he thinks these things.
I'm surprised he didn't say Texas at some point. But oh my God, do I have to read? I can't read any more of this. This is the dumbest shit I've ever.
Oh, read. Just don't. Just
I remember
it's the same
this.
shit.
Wait, go up 12 likes. Can we go to the tweet? What's
Oh,
where's that?
12 likes. Oh no, this is
share it.
He needs more likes. Graham Handcock is a legend. Let's go to fucking Fibbledy Dick, whatever his name.
Fibbledy Gibbet.
Fibble Dick.
Okay, let me. They don't actually link to.
Oh, they don't. They don't link to the
thread.
45 tweets by Fibbledy Dick.
Because they say,
I wonder why.
You know, in a huge 40 tweet thread, but they don't link to that 40.
I mean,
But it says it's been retweeted
Unless
by
maybe this is
many
it?
archaeologists.
many
Maybe this is-
archaeologists is many 3. You like how people like absolutely over emphasize like how much shit they're getting on Twitter. It's like I'm getting like drunk 3P always does this. It's like I'm getting a bunch of shit in my chat. It's like 3 people giving them shit
Out of like 100, right?
Yeah, out of 100.
Well, it's like a couple is 2, a few is 3, and then many is 4 or more. So they're like many archaeologists are retweeting this. It's like 4 people. It's like, oh, well, technically they're right. So
Graham, we got your back, buddy. Fuck this dude.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the thread. Did he remove it?
You find the thread. I'm gonna bring back up the
get rid of this. Get rid of this crap.
Get this out of my face.
stuff. It's been a funny show tonight.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. There's so those are the chisel marks, like clear chisel marks by humans, not aliens or anything. Those are human beings dug out those first 2, and then they go. That's not Malta, right? This is Carantepe. So this
the other one, the other spot.
What's exciting about this one is like they weren't even going to excavate this, dude. Like the fact that like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe it's a little longer because I'm getting old. Around 2014, 15, 16, like we had Syria jumping off. So it was dangerous to come around this area, and there was like no hope. They had stopped work on Göbekli Tepe. They were putting the roof on, but that was it. And they weren't going to excavate any more of it. And I'm like, oh my God, you're kidding me, right? Because they keep on saying it's like there's 50 times more, 50 times more shit underneath. And it's like, you can't.
It's 50% or 50 times more?
50 times. 50.
Holy shit.
50.
Can we talk about that for a second?
Yeah.
If there's 50 times more shit underneath the ground, underneath Göbekli Tepe, that place has got to be freaking tens of thousands of years old.
It's massive. It's really fucking old. And these are the ones they know about because the fucking pillars were sticking out of the ground. They've gotten ground penetrating radar out there, and they've found a lot more of it, but there's still more to be discovered. It's a giant complex going over all area, and like environmentally, like, dude, this place is dirt. Like, fucking dig it up. Just dig it up. Because obviously they buried it for a reason. They buried it as a time capsule, and like they used rubble to bury it, and not just dirt, rubble to make sure it was preserved. So it meant that much to them. It's nuts that this thing was found. And
the fact that it was buried means they wanted someone in the future to find it and know that it was there. I wanted it to be preserved. Like, why?
Understand the message. And what it does for me, like Graham doesn't come out and say it in this series, but Randall and Graham heavily insinuated, but they kind of like get right up to it and then they stop. But I won't. Like Malta, this automatically makes Malta older. This makes Sacsayhuaman older. Like, archaeologists are saying Sacsayhuaman's only like 1,000 years old. No, I think it's 10,000 years old. I think Malta's 10,000 years old. I think it's just as old as Göbekli Tepe. I think Stonehenge, older. Is old. Stonehenge is like 5,000 years, 6,000 years. Help me, chat. After Göbekli Tepe, I don't think so. I've been there, and there's a big sign that tells you we don't know anything.
We don't know shit.
Basically, it's a big sign that says we don't know shit. We think we know, but we don't know, and they've found other stuff. So I think it automatically makes the stuff older, but that's just me.
Hey, so I don't mean to take it back to Mr. Dibble.
Take
here,
it back
but
to Mr. Fiddle Dibble.
his
Dibble and
entire
Mr.
Twitter,
Dibble.
Mr. Dibble Dick, his entire Twitter account is nothing but
Trump?
Graham Hancock
Oh,
tweets.
oh.
It's just
Like
nothing but
anti-Graham Hancock
It's
stuff?
just
Oh.
all over him. And guess where he writes articles, Gary? Guess. The Conversation.
No.
The Conversation.
No.
The
What is this?
academic newsletter written by academics for academics to pass around academic opinions about bullshit. So yeah, he wrote an article about it.
Yeah, I've done 2 Rings of Power videos on the Conversation. And they connected
That's the kind of person we're working
Tolkien fandom to white supremacy.
Of course they did.
Yep. So that's the kind of high level intellect we're dealing with here with Mr. Dibble. Still can't find this big threat.
Universities are a scourge on our society at this point. I just don't see their usefulness. They're spitting out a bunch of useless fucking kids with useless professors who aren't doing shit for society. Nobody wants to work anymore.
They're teaching that their feelings are valid.
Okay.
And actually mean something. It's like, or no.
Here is the that's the whirling dervish. And then this is the
arc.
The myth of not an it's arc-like, but
art light.
A bunch of people dug some tunnels and saved all the animals, which sounds a lot like a fucking ark. And by the way,
another story.
This is in Turkey. Turkey has Mount Ararat, where the ark supposedly
up.
Oh shit!
Oh shit!
Not far geologically.
You know,
pretty sure it wasn't white people either.
Another thing I was looking up randomly today was some very prominent Native Americans were really fucking tall. 6'6", 6'9", 6'8", back in the 1800s, 1900s. I thought that was interesting because there's all the myths of giants, and the giants were usually the chiefs of the tribe, the royalty. Yeah, that was really strange.
I can definitely see there being a taller species. I mean, same species, but like a taller group.
Well, yeah. Somebody asked that. I mean,
like I said last time, like the pygmies, right? We have like the opposite. We have really small people.
People don't want to go there, but
really tall
all the megafauna was really fucking big. Why wouldn't the people be big?
Yeah.
If they were here.
I don't think that's crazy. I mean, once you say giant, people go, oh, man, you think there's 12-foot tall to like 2-3-story tall people with like one eye? No. Like just tall people, larger than our current size. People in medieval times were a lot smaller than they are now.
So the one thing that could give people warning, say a comet's coming at you and then like you're hit. I mean, it's a barrage, right? And you're hit with like survivable impacts, but then you see this just big thing coming at you and it's getting brighter every day. That would be that'd be enough to make you dig a hole.
I mean, think about Halley's Comet, right?
Yep.
We could see it. It's not like it's, a little dot in the sky. The thing's freaking a big flare. It came around in 86 or something. When was the last time I was here? I don't remember. But if they see something like that, and it's like, oh man, and it comes around every 60 years? I don't remember. 75 years? Is that it? So every 75 years they see this massive thing in the sky. They're like, oh man, like that's it. We're gonna die. There it is.
Let's
again.
Build a temple facing it.
We gotta figure out a way to survive this.
Hail Bob.
Yeah,
Hail Bob was in the sky for a month.
Wow,
I could see it. Yeah, I like in San Diego, you could see it when the sun was going down. Man, that thing was clear as fucking day up there. That was crazy. And then a bunch of people killed themselves and almost got me fucking arrested when I had 2 felonies.
Oh man.
Because I couldn't get my work truck home work and I didn't have a cell phone because
They're like, look, it's Heaven's Gate, man. I didn't steal the truck. It's Heaven's Gate. You'll hear about it.
I'm mad at the people who committed mass suicide for inconvenience. Yes, I am.
How much you think one of those pairs of tennis shoes go on the?
Oh, they do. They know. Watch Count Dankula's video on it. Those shoes.
What they do with them?
Became collectible.
I imagine.
Well, the brand, not the shoes that were on the people's feet, but
I'm saying those. I want to see where those shoes went.
They probably went in the incinerator. That's what I'm guessing.
If I'm the coroner, I'm like,
no, but about brand of shoes like going for a lot of money. Dank has a great video on it.
Dank's awesome.
The only thing it's missing is me.
Giant penis, yes.
Being caught in traffic in Rancho Santa Fe. And my wife thinking I was dead. And my boss think I stole the truck and fucked off.
Oh, someone found the thread.
Oh, they found it? Oh, yeah. Sweet.
I'm sorry.
It's in the private chat. Thank you, Safi.
So this is Karen Tepe again. This is a head on what they theorize is a serpent. Lots of serpent iconography, is that the word? Lots of serpents carved around. We'll just say carved in these temples. Lots of serpent imagery around the world. It's weird. It's weird. It's coincidental. Oh, and this is where we get to Randall. So I'm just gonna should I let it go to the next episode? And we get to all the Randall you can handle.
Oh yeah.
There's a boy.
I like how they start this by presenting the accepted narrative, right? Mm-hmm. The Great Lake was had an ice wall that melted and then reformed and then melted, so it was like releasing water intermittently throughout,
slowly.
Yeah. Well, like flash floods on and off for a while, and it like, oh well, we can accept that, but like a great flood, whoa,
that's ridiculous.
That's preposterous, right?
So we're gonna theorize 900 floods,
right? Yeah, exactly. And then they're like, I'm like, wow, I thought this wasn't their theory, right? And then halfway through, they kind of like. And so anyway, that's what the mainstream people believe. And then they drop some hard evidence that like totally disproves that. I'm like, damn, that was just brutal. Dibble was fucking crying when that happened.
Yeah, Dibble.
Like, oh, I'm a real archaeologist. Oh.
Idler. IWD for $10 says ancient Egyptians basically look like Eddie Guerrero minus certain dynasties. Raises and Seti were genetically closer to Slavs than they were Middle Eastern people. I did not know that. I do know that some Egyptians had elongated skulls. They did. Now, whether that was from cranial deformation or something else, not sure, because the Paracas people sure liked that. Sure liked having the conehead skulls because they all had, yeah. But some of the skulls that were found, that when you have the head binding, you still have your sutures. Some of the skulls they found have none.
That's weird. It's almost really like the people that had the head binding could possibly,
and they also
theory here could be trying to look like that.
Red hair. They had red fucking hair. Weird. There is places there. Okay. L.A. Marzulli likes to really come from a religious angle, but his Watcher series, number 6, is fucking mind blowing because Brian Forster takes him to this fucking area in the middle of the desert where there is just bones, human bones everywhere. They're just laying out in the fucking sun, laying out in the sand, and you can just pick up somebody's femur, and they found hundreds of these elongated skulls. So this was shot about 10 years ago, and some guy with a lot of juice down in Peru, and Brian Forster and L.A. Marzulli and the cameraman go in this. I forgot what it was called, but yeah, it's just like this area where it's death everywhere. It's fucking crazy. And it's been grave robbed, and the grave robbers want all the gold and everything, but they don't give a shit about the bones or any of the head there is head bindings, but sometimes there isn't. They don't care about the clothing. So like Brian Forster's just walking around, and then L.A. Marzulli picks up this piece of clothing. It's like 3,000 years old. It's just laying on the fucking ground.
Just there. It's
nuts. So if you have a chance, watch Watchers 6. And again, L.A. Marzulli comes at it with, some people might like this, from a very biblical point of view, very Christian biblical point of view, but he doesn't like hammer you over the head with it. And plus the video evidence is worth watching it already. You might be able to, I think it's on Amazon Prime. Pretty sure it's on Amazon Prime to rent. The racism claims come from the early explorers in the 1800s thinking the mound builder ruins were not from the natives because they were primitive savages, says Robin Swope for $10. You're absolutely right. And a lot of the racism came from academia, right? Now the reaction to that is be more racist. I don't get it. But the mound builders,
it's big brain time.
So there was millions of mounds. What sucks, what we were just talking about is Turkey like not digging where like you should obviously just dig the shit out of the Göbekli Tepe and find it all out. But the other hand is if it was us, that shit would be gone already. It would just be mowed over like we mowed over all the fucking mounds. In Emeryville, I talked about Shell Mound. They just dug the shit out of that and put a mall there. And but a lot of these mounds like Poverty Point are fucking old. So they predate a lot of the tribes that were there. And they even say it. They're like, no, this shit was here when we got here. You know where the racism comes from? Academia not talking to the elders of these tribes who have passed down their own mythology verbally for thousands of years.
You see, academia thinks that they're better than them.
Yeah, they still think that
they're not racist.
They still think they're primitive savages. That's what they think. And they're not. They're clearly not. You go to Chaco Canyon. Go to Chaco Canyon. That a place that's in New Mexico. I'll take you there, Garrett. It fucking blow your mind. It will blow your mind. They had to know math. They had to know planning. That like, how did they like? They made these perfect circles. Yeah. Like, how in the fuck did they do that?
I mean, just Göbekli Tepe. They take something that we know is 10,000 years old. Like, were those primitive savages? Of course not.
And that's what Graham has been saying.
What blows my mind is that the archaeologists admit that it's that old. And it's like, well, if you admit that this location is that old, how can you also at the same time believe that the only civilization was like 6,000 years ago?
Just hunting and gathering one day, and you know what? I'm gonna throw my bow down and I'm gonna build
stone masonry.
Hey,
I know how to do it.
You, me, we're gonna go make a big old T, okay, right now, and then we're gonna like get really good overnight at carving relief drawings of animals artistically, like technically and artistically well, and
they're perfectly represent the stars in the sky as well.
Yes. And furthermore, to show that there was advancement, these are caricatures. They're not just because you don't start with a caricature. That's something you develop over time. Right. So it's crazy. It's like, I'm just gonna get up and make a T, a big 18-foot T, and then carve a scorpion on it.
Hundreds of pounds of stone, tons of stone. In fact,
I mean, I can't actually speak or write or invent a wheel or fire, but I'm going to do that. Okay.
Just sounds a little strange. I feel like the archaeologists should have a really solid explanation for that.
Well, that would take a long essay, though, Garrett.
Oh, yeah. You can't explain
that's where it is. Like, I would be excited. If I was an archaeologist, I'm like, this blows everything wide open, and we now have more opportunities to get more archaeologists to figure out more truth. But no, Most of them, let's be real. It's academics. They never wanted to leave school. They never wanted to work very hard. Okay. They wanted to fuck around and not get out in the field that much. And if they do, they're kind of slow about it because everything's going to move at the speed of the state.
Sounds like all the people that just got fired from Twitter. Same kind of vibe.
Yep.
Same thing.
But like 1 out of every 20, there's some fucking go-getter out there. There's some guy like, I want everything. Like, and that's what we need more of. We just need more of them.
And that is what Twitter looks like now.
Yep. Kind of like that picture that Lauren Chen.
Yeah.
That was great.
Glorious. The ratio swapped.
Lauren Chen's.
What does it mean?
Remove the Karens, bring the coders, and you'll have a business.
Huh.
And it's 99% cheaper.
Yeah.
It's funny that all those little day in the life of a Twitter employee were all from like female perspectives.
Right.
I get my wine. I do some yoga.
They got to put beer on tap now for the men.
Yeah.
I want a day in the life from one of those coders. I got my cup of soup. I slept in a cot.
I slept under my desk.
And then it's just keyboard clacking for like 18 hours. That's it.
Yeah, just sitting.
I played God of War for 10 hours, and I went to work for 10 hours. And then I slept for 4. Yeah. Vikings have red hair. We know so little about them. Could they have gone places further out? Matthew Hammond, $4.99. They did. They absolutely.
Definitely. They were definitely there before Columbus. You know, they had been coming here.
Yeah.
Oh, people were coming to America. Chinese have been to America. The Polynesians have been to America. That like South America, at least. I mean, like, yeah.
It's only the New World to Western world.
Egyptians have been to Australia. I don't know about America, but they've been to Australia. There's a whole rock with hieroglyphics. It's pretty trippy. It was on Ancient Aliens. They thought it was aliens, but see, the good thing that Ancient Aliens has led people to this, has led people to Graham going, okay, I like all those sites, but I'm not too sure about every single one.
Go a little too far there sometimes. Okay, just rein it back.
Rein it back a little bit.
Take it down a notch.
What if they were hiding from giants trying to eat them? It says brand new for 10 Australian dollars. That would suck. That would suck.
It's an interesting thought.
Interesting thought. Oh, it'd be cool if they found some, you know. It'd be cool if they dug up a UFO, you know, like
yeah.
But I think it's much easier to believe that there was a civilization that was a maritime civilization that could map the world. They could sail, not like they weren't building spaceships, but that what Graham said and Randall and many others have said that they were way more in tune with the earth and they developed differently, a lot differently than we. They're like not a civilization that would have invented plastic. They wouldn't have needed it because they figured out ways to use magnetism or ways to use the earth. Chapik is out. Iger is back. Yes. Says Scherzo. And we did cover that. And like, it's exciting news, but it's not the thing I want to talk about for a week. It's like, oh, we're going to speculate that Iger is going to turn it all around. Whatever.
I don't care. Disney's dead to me.
It's fucking dead.
Exactly. If Iger comes back and people start getting fired within a couple of weeks, then okay, all right.
Then it might go, whoa. He's still fucking up.
But the only person they fired was Bob Chapek, the guy who bent the knee to the board,
guy.
Did the fucking hostage video, and guess what? It wasn't enough. And they all wanted Bob Iger because Bob Iger is the one who let all the fucking woke in the building.
Yeah. End
of story. Ventus Bruma for $10. You should look up channel Suspicious Observer. He has several playlists about how every 12,000 years there's a disaster cycle via the sun. Not sure if I believe it all, but it does make a good case for it. And that stems from Velikovsky. I don't think it's Velikovsky, but it's somebody like Velikovsky. A lot of this comes from Velikovsky, if you want to look into him. He was a friend of Einstein, and he had interesting theories, but his summations were kind of wacky, like Venus was a comet. But that's where Randall started. That's where, the term we are a species with amnesia. It doesn't come from Graham Handcock. It comes from Velikovsky. There's another guy who thinks that there is a pulsar at the center of our galaxy and not a black hole, and that it spurts out gamma every 13,000 years, gamma rays.
Interesting. Never heard that theory before.
Yep. Randall's talked about it. I sent you a clip. We're going to go over a little bit of it because we don't have a ton of time tonight. But we can go over it for like 20 minutes. That'd be fun.
I wasn't able to watch it.
It's okay. Watch it in your free time. You will not regret it.
I'm definitely going to check that out. Yeah.
Yeah. Like tomorrow or when you're going to sleep or something.
You know what I did look into though?
What's
the
that?
Whole Azores Atlantis theory.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. And it does make sense actually because of the weight of the ice, lifting, and then what is the weak point, and that it's a triple spot, where three different plates meet.
Right.
So it would make sense that that's the weakest point that's nearest to where that ice weight shifted. Well, where would it go? It would lift up, and the edge of the plate would go down. And it's like, all right, that makes sense. I'm
there's something
I'm with you on it.
The Azores are there. The tops of the mountains are there, and then Randall goes into deep detail about the flank slides that have come off of the islands and the tsunamis that have hit it. So there's two different separate things. There's giant tsunamis that have hit all those islands, and then there's big flank failures, which happens to islands, like big pieces of land fall into it's basically a landslide. And if you look, like the debris goes out miles. Like these are huge, and they think it's. I can't remember if it's a Canary Island. It's a Canary Island. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. This could happen to one of the islands in the Atlantic right now and cause a massive tsunami for the East Coast. It's one of the islands that has an active volcano on it. And it could create a fake flank failure. By the way, that could also happen in Hawaii on the Big Island. They talked about there's a big portion of it that could. They talked about it when I was there. I love hearing about that when I'm there. When I'm on the island, on the part that could fall into the other. Like, oh yeah, this whole park could fall in the ocean. I'm like, really? Shit.
That's comforting.
Yeah, we could all just go right down to the ocean.
I gotta go. Gotta go back home now. All right, so we'll read a couple more and then we'll go over Randall's video. For 2 decades now, I have asked friends, why do you think the people of Noah's time were just sandal-wearing primitives? They look at me like I have 3 heads. Yeah, a lot of people just aren't. RK Thoughts, REK Thoughts, thank you for the $5. I'm not saying this to you, but just the people who haven't like studied history, and believe me, I've done it all on my own. I didn't learn it in school. Everything I've learned, I've just picked up a book. I read a lot of books.
Pseudoscientist.
I'm a pseudoscientist, but I like linear history too. Love Roman history.
Yeah.
Just read Roman history. There's a ton of it. They were a society just like ours. They
eerily close to ours.
Eerily close to ours. They were, like the minor slaves. Other than that, they were just like us. They had actors, they had comedians, they were republic, they had the same political squabbles, they got hedonistic towards the end. It's like they were always kind of hedonistic. They were a super advanced society. They were and that was a long fucking time ago. And in a lot of ways, the Romans were more advanced than a lot of people who were in this country in the 1800s out in the West, who were just living when it was nuts, when it was fucking nuts.
Yeah,
and
it was the Wild West out there.
People would kill you. Remember, we were in the Tombstone graveyard.
Yes, yeah.
And all the people died over a stupid fucking fight or the color of his shirt or some shit.
That was what it was like. This man, he died over the color of his shirt. And you're like,
wow,
that's okay. That's all the information. Okay.
Oh, did you hear?
Some land dispute.
The Oriental saw I was wearing their sweatshirt and they posted me on their Instagram.
That's congratulations.
Awesome.
Yeah, we went there. It was so
belonged
cool,
to Wyatt Earp. Used to play. Yeah, dude. If you're in Arizona and you're near Tucson, do not miss going to Tombstone. It's only like a 10-minute drive off the freeway, 15-minute
Totally
drive.
worth it.
Totally worth it. Absolutely worth it. So fun.
Oh, it's a tourist trap. Yes.
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 That's God dang it.
Like,
I love tourist
I
traps.
fucking love it.
Yeah. Is that
It's
bad?
great.
I
Only
like
when they
that
earn
shit.
it.
Yeah. They earn it. It's cool. It looks really fucking Old West, you know?
Yeah.
And they do a
Tombstone's
dumb
cool.
little show, but like you get to see the graveyard. You get to see that it was basically an assassination. It wasn't really a gunfight at the OK Corral. No, it's really fucking cool. A lot of history there.
Yep.
Is it an amazing science? Oh, I read that one. The Netflix series promotes what? Oh, I read that one too. And I read that one. Solar micronova produces impacts which could be interpreted as comet impacts. Kal-El or Kai-El. I was going to say Kal-El. Superman. No, it's Kai-El for $5. Yes, that's what Robert Schoch says, and it's and he's on Joe Rogan. Go look watch his interview. He's tough to listen to because he's such a freaking like dyed in the wool academic professor. But like he's fascinating. Guy is fucking like his Easter Island research is nuts. It's really interesting stuff. Easter Island makes no sense. None of it. They had a written language that they forgot. They had these giant statues that at first were considered young, but Robert Schoch points out that right near the quarry, a bunch of those statues are buried up to here. Now, some were purposely buried. The other ones, he says, is sediment. And he said it would take thousands of years for that much sediment to build up. But they're all crooked, and yeah, it's weird. Kyle says, please check out Robert Sephir at Atlantean Gardens and Bed Davidson at Suspicious Observers. They will completely wreck your reality. Hell, I love my reality being wrecked all the time. Yeah. It's fucking rad. I love it. The cataclysm was the solar micronova, which again, here's what I think. I think it could have been one thing and then 1,000 years later, the other thing. And even Schoch says if a comet or a meteor big enough hits the sun just right, it could shoot out plasma the other way. Sleep tight, everybody.
It could happen at any moment.
Any moment.
Right now.
The SMOD could come down and ruin your day. SMOD is the sweet meteor of death.
SMOD.
Kyle for $10 says the cataclysm was the solar micronova. The surface was uninhabitable for a time after. The micronova is the only thing that explains the nova level isotopes and the magnetic reversal every 12,000 years, which is a trip. And that is recorded. And they found that in lava that they dug up from the Marianas Trench. I listen to a lot of this shit. I can't believe I've retained this much to be.
Like I said, all those little bits in there, you grab it out.
All right, let's go to Randall's video. Did you pull it up, Garrett?
I got it.
You got it.
Unless you want to have control of it, so you can scooch through it.
I like to boss you around. It's
okay, cool. Okay, massa. All right, what do you want to just hit play?
I mean, yeah, I don't think he'll give us. I mean, let's see the beginning
preamble,
and then we'll kind of skip through and we'll look at some of the megafauna.
You know, I want to make sure I
hear anything.
By the way,
audio here. Subscribe
to Randall Carlson. Watch this video. Give the man all your clicks. This is a brilliant guy. Love this guy. Osmograph. Randall Carlson.
The indigenous peoples of North America had many tales about life during those times, especially tales with respect to the great megafauna. And I've got a collection of those together that we'll address because they're pretty fascinating in their own right. Pawnee. There was a Pawnee hero stories and folk tales who talked about this. In the beginning, before making people, Tirawa, the creator, decided to create giant creatures to live in this world. Tirawa made them in many shapes, but in several ways they were all alike. They were very big and very strong. And lots of traditions have preserved memories of the great megafauna that went extinct at the end of the last ice age. And what's interesting about that is because within the context of all this new knowledge that's coming out, we have this boundary between the Bowling Alrod and the Younger Dryas, which is dated to just under 12,900 years. And below that boundary, we find megafaunal remains and not above. And below that boundary, we find the evidence of North American habitation on the part of the Clovis people, who then disappear right at that boundary. So in terms of the animal life, that's something I'd like to kind of dwell on a little bit, because it's so fascinating and so interesting to to contemplate this bestiary, this ice age bestiary that occupied North America, because most people are not really aware or cognizant of how the extent of this population of great animals. So we'll get into that a little bit here. Is going back through, one of my early textbooks was The Earth Through Time by Harold L. Levin, geologist, which was from 1982. And he was referring to the Pleistocene and its occupants. And he said that the Pleistocene was a time of splendid diversity among mammals. The fauna was probably more varied and impressive than that of Africa a century ago. The Pleistocene was an age of giants in which colossal ground sloths, beavers over 2 meters tall, giant dire wolves, bison and tall rangy mammoths, and woolly rhinoceroses ranged far and wide across the continents.
Cool.
Earlier,
Wow.
Way back in 1836, when Charles Darwin was exploring the American continent, this is what he said. It is impossible to reflect on the state of the American continent without astonishment. Formerly, it must have swarmed with great monsters. Now we find mere pygmies compared with the antecedent allied races. And I think we'll do a few images here to help stimulate an appreciation of the nature of some of these beasts. We have a really interesting graphic. So on the left,
beautiful
we
picture.
have a modern elephant jaw. And on the right, we have a mastodon jaw.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what I love.
Damn.
Randall is not, it's not about production value, and you don't need to be. Like, Randall just does his fucking thing, and it's great. By the way, everybody again should be subscribed to this man. He puts out great.
I'll put the link in the chat, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks.
So that's a regular elephant.
And now elephants are huge.
And elephants are really big.
He'll go into, like, when they found this, they didn't know what they thought. This is a monster. There's monsters over here.
Mm-hmm. Look at those teeth.
Yeah.
The molars.
They're
yeah.
Huge.
Damn.
Oh.
So these mastodon remains were being found all over non-glaciated North America, particularly on the east side in the Mississippi Valley and in the southeast. Mastodons were quite prolific. Bradley and I visited the so-called Big Bone Lick on the border of Kentucky and Ohio, maybe a decade ago, 15 years ago.
Closer to 15 now, yeah, man.
Yeah, years go by so quick, I lose track. But this was a mastodon, a mass death site of mastodons. And it goes back in history because it was discovered by early explorers. And in fact, a number of the specimens that were found there along this swampy creek side were sent to Thomas Jefferson, who had a collection in one of the rooms in the White House of these great extinct animals. When they first found these bones, they didn't know what they were looking at. When they looked at this jaw, they found these teeth here. Now, mastodons are browsers, which means that they're eating tree branches. So they have.
So are they eating meat?
No, tree branches. He just said that they're eating tree branches. They
Just
but they need these
munching on
big-
tree branches.
So this
Like, wait, so not eating just like leaves and stuff, like full on branches. That's
yes,
why they have these giant molars.
that doesn't explain it all. And what somebody asks is, if the fauna was this big, was the flora this big?
Yeah.
And he hasn't looked into it. It must have been it just must have been everywhere, because there were millions of these things. And just, they don't get into it in this live stream. But as many of you probably already know in the chat, and some of you may not, they are still digging up mammoth tusks to this day in Siberia. It's actually a black market trade. But for many years, for 100 years, most, if not all, of the ivory, well, I'll say most, it wasn't from hunted elephants. It was from digging up mammoth tusks. They have pictures. It's a drawn picture, but it's a picture of a warehouse in the UK that is just tusks, fucking tusks, as far as the eye can see.
Wow.
And it was a huge trade. Now it's a black market trade. There was a documentary on it back in 2012 where a guy went in, and these guys go out to Siberia in the summer, and they use water to dig holes, and they just dig, and they hope they find something. It's super dangerous. There's tons of mosquitoes. It's fucking horrible. But if you find one, you could sell it to China, because China buys them. And it's for an aphrodisiac.
Of course.
There are these mass death sites. They're still digging up these things in the thousands today. But there's also mass graveyards that were found in Siberia. I think there's one in Alaska they found. He's talking about one in America that they found.
So it's not like they all die at once, like boom, or
Yep. There was the famous one that had the broken pelvis and food in its mouth that they found.
Wow.
And because a river had dug a channel in the mud in Siberia in the permafrost, and just one day it got exposed, and when somebody found it, wolves had eaten the meat off its head, and it was fine, by the way. It had been frozen for so long, permanently frozen. And what Randall talks about is this thing was frozen so fast, it was frozen solid.
What the hell?
Solid. But the weird thing is, Siberia wasn't glaciated in the Ice Age. Siberia is fucking cold. It's colder than anywhere here. It's got permafrost, which is the ground is frozen. But back in the day during the Ice Age, it was warmer than parts of Canada, so the ice shelf wasn't on Siberia. Siberia was warmer, and it had.
So it froze somewhere else. Ice sheet moved and then dropped it there, or
almost like the Earth was in a different position. But that couldn't have been. It couldn't have been, or could it? But something happened that flash froze these things. So how does that happen? Nobody knows, but it happened. Skip ahead.
Really?
Talk about skip till you start seeing pictures of here. Just scroll on the bottom. There we go. Okay, go back. Right there.
Well, I mean,
that's the great
Somebody messed that up.
mastodon skeleton. There's a dude right next to it. Look at how fucking big that thing was, man.
wow,
That was millions of those things were just walking around San Diego, Texas, Louisiana, everywhere.
It's awesome.
Oh, by the
all
way,
right.
from 5 million years ago to 12,000 years ago. So these things were around for millions of years, and they just stopped
up and
12,000
died.
years ago because they were overhunted by dudes with sticks. Now, when you start now
You go, wait.
If you think it's one species, fine. 4? Oh, and then the things you don't hunt, because men, like, you don't regularly hunt a saber-toothed tiger or dire wolves.
No, it's the other way around.
There. Yeah, it's the other way around. So yeah, you can hit play.
And
So
that's
they didn't
that was probably
Let's see.
14 feet high, 12, 14. Does it say? Yeah.
The guy sweeping back there.
Yeah. Well,
Crazy big.
mastodons are, well, never mind. Yeah, so here's a skeleton. And just for the sake of scale, I put an old picture in there at the appropriate scale.
Nice.
Nice wizard picture.
Circa 1998.
Yeah, that was about 1998. Okay.
Is that the same skeleton as the previous picture?
No, this is a different. This is the Warren mastodon.
Now, also on top of that, you're imagining you've got hunter-gatherers going around killing these things, supposedly, right, to extinction. And that's so much meat. I know they couldn't like save any of it.
They bring that up. Why would you just be mass killing them all?
Yeah.
Eating all the meat. The one thing that Graham talks about, that any anthropologist will talk about, that any archaeologist worth his salt or her salt will talk about, is hunter-gatherers weren't like they didn't just scorched earth. It's not how they worked.
Yeah.
Not how they worked at all.
No, they couldn't live in they couldn't. That's not how they did things, right? They would kill something. They take what they need from the environment because they knew if they overtook, then it wouldn't replenish.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they couldn't
And
continue.
they'd use every bit of it.
And
You know,
you could-
like a lot of the Native Americans, they'd use every single bit. Every single bit. They'd build their clothing out of it, their teepees, their houses. They'd make furniture out of it. They use all of it. So to think that they went around and mass murdered like all of them, I don't know. I mean, how many cliffside could you run them off of to get every single one down to the?
Yeah, dude, you couldn't. And there wasn't
You
enough
couldn't do it.
people. There wasn't enough people. This was it was a sparsely populated area because there was a bunch of shit that could kill you.
A bunch.
A bunch.
It was found. Where was he found? In Ohio, I think.
Including mastodons, by
And
the
here's
way.
kind of a reconstruction of what
I'm sure they could
one of
stomp
them
the
would
shit
have
out
looked
of it.
like.
Forget the animals.
This
just
is a
the elements.
mastodon.
The
Yeah, they'll
elements.
just- everything wants to kill
You
you.
go out and survive out in Arizona.
Oh,
Just
look
off
at that
the
guy.
Yeah.
I want one of those.
guy.
I want to get on his back, right around.
Found in New York State. Obviously, this, like I said, this is a reconstruction. But, actually, he looks a lot. All I'd have to do is add a couple of tusks to one of my dogs, and he'd look like that.
That's what I was saying.
But yeah, there you go.
Like
So
Fluffy.
think about that. This guy was very prevalent in North America during the Ice Age. And here's another Mammoth americanum, the American mastodon, existed from about 5 million years before present to about 12,000. And the painting here, one of my favorite books, and I think it's still available. I'll pull it out here with Art Zdeněk Burian, who is one of my favorite artists of extinct animals. I'll show the book after a minute here when we stop the screen share. But we'll keep going. Let's see. I put a figure in here so you can kind of get a sense of the scale here.
Oh yeah.
Lunch.
Lunch.
All right. Let's keep going here. Yes, Smilodon, the saber-toothed cat, existed from approximately 2 million years before present. I'm putting down 12,000 years before present only because I made this probably 15 years ago. I put this together, or even longer than that. And so at that time, the onset of the Younger Dryas had not been precisely dated to 12,000, slightly less than 12,900. But it's very possible that the extinction did come through several waves. But again, most of the evidence seems to suggest that Younger Dryas boundary marks the cap, where most of the megafaunal species that disappeared did so at that point. This is Charles R. Knight, who did paintings for the American Museum of Natural History, and he is one of the considered great artists of extinct animals, including dinosaurs. And he did several books. I had a book illustrated by him as a kid that really served to stimulate an interest in all of this kind of stuff. So yeah, Charles R. Knight, and I'm sure anybody, if you could look him up online, you'll find out a lot of information about
a
him.
little
Some-
bit.
Some high res
I want to see
reproductions of some of his paintings.
the next one's a dire.
Oh,
What
yeah,
is
Duke is-
that?
Okay.
Dope.
Oh, I mean,
Giant
elk are already pretty large, but that's fucking huge.
That's an Irish elk.
And it's about to get eaten by a bunch of dire wolves.
Wow.
I didn't even notice the wolves. Damn.
There was actual dire wolves, and there is the American lion. That's Graham Handcock under one of the mastodon elephant type. Go to the short-faced bear. Go back.
Oh, that's it. That's it right there.
No, that's not it.
Is that it right there?
Go back a little more.
Is that there it is.
Yeah, that's. I wanted to see it.
Giant cave bear.
Jeez, that
Giant
thing's massive.
bear. So that's not the
Look at that
apex predator.
sucker.
Look at how big that is. That's not the apex predator. Hang on, keep going.
That's the
going.
rhino.
Yeah, right there.
Oh, there it is. I found it.
Okay.
Whoa.
Right,
There's your apex predator, and it doesn't
Right
look
there.
like much, but that
Look
is
at that sucker.
that is a fast fucking bear that will eat you. So
And bears are already fast now. So think about one with longer legs.
Yep.
And they're larger.
so think of a cheetah, a bear that can run like a
Oh.
cheetah.
Oh,
I'm good.
oof.
So
And that's why people were like, we're gonna cross this land bridge. Oh, no, we're not. We're gonna turn right around.
Yeah.
back a little bit. Go back.
That's how they only found arrowheads. They shot a bunch, they didn't work, they turned around and ran.
Look at that fucking kangaroo.
Kangaroo.
Holy crap.
Holy shit.
There's that big old beaver.
Look at that beaver. That's a nice beaver.
That's a nice beaver.
That's
I had
what
it
she
stuffed
said.
yesterday.
And a buffalo
That's a
bison.
bison,
The super
So
bison.
you wanna
and that's
the
the rhino.
rhino.
There's the
Furry
rhino. Hit play.
Giant woolly rhinos of Siberia.
Yeah, it was a good
And
job.
let's see who put my brother Rowan in there for scale.
Holy shit.
Oh
Now
man.
that would be a pretty impressive beast, you got to admit.
Fucking horn, dude.
How did we survive indeed?
He's as big as the
And
horn.
And then
How did we
Coelodonta, the
survive
woolly
this?
rhinoceros.
There's your unicorn.
This
That's
was
the
a North
thing. We
American
didn't.
animal. You found
Oh.
them quite prevalent up in non-glaciated Yukon and
We
Alaska.
got all kinds of screwed up by these guys.
I don't think they were found down in the southern part of the U.S.
So all of these things, you're noticing
And
the same,
Smilodon.
the same year, roughly
Mhm.
12,800 years, all gone.
Why do
How?
you think humans thrived on some island in the middle of the Atlantic? Because they didn't have big ass fucking things eating them.
That's what they bring up in
Yeah.
this.
Do they?
That's smart. That's really
Mm.
smart. Well done. Well done, Adam Crigler. That's exactly
Yes.
what they said. They said, yeah, I can definitely see people surviving in an island in the most temporal place on Earth at the
Right.
time, with the Gulf Stream and everything, with none of this shit trying to kill.
Yeah. It's like a paradise. It's like a Garden of Eden, you could say.
They hunted all 4 species of big old proboscideans to extinction, plus all these other animals that we were just seeing. How do you
Right.
explain that?
Plus all the
Well-
horses. And, yeah.
Well, as I've pointed out, the flaw in that theory is, you've got roving bands of hunter-gatherers, 100 to 150 people in a band, maximum, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to, and how many bands are there? Where's the evidence for all these roving bands? Where's the evidence for the millions of people it would have taken to kill all these animals?
Millions.
There isn't any.
Right. We can't find any Clovis people.
Right. We can find artifacts, but no people.
Right.
Because they were
Which
eating.
brings us to another interesting
Anzac
subject that
one.
we-
Short-faced
that we
bear,
have
man.
to
Check
come
him out.
back to.
Yeah.
So I
which
was going to
is-
ask too, do you think, like, were there large people? There are all these large animals. What was the what was the flora like? Was it all large? Were the trees massive?
I don't know if the trees were, if the flora was necessarily.
It was.
I haven't
There is
studied
some
into that.
giant flora in California. I don't know if anybody's seen it. It's older, and it's called the giant sequoia. Thing is fucking massive tree.
The redwoods are fucking massive.
Yeah, you can drive a car. Unfortunately, the one you could drive a car.
That one fell down, man.
Fell down, dude.
It fell down. What year did that fall down? 2019?
2018.
Well, they cut a big hole through the freaking.
Oh,
It lasted for like 80 years, though.
The base.
Dude, I went through it many times. It sucks.
I always wanted to. I always saw it.
But dude, if you guys haven't seen a giant sequoia, make the trip. It's worth it. They're amazing,
magnificent. Like in every sense of that word. You throw around the word awesome a lot, these days or whatever. But that's like literally awesome.
It looks
like you're
prehistoric. It looks like this is not of this earth. It is or really fucking old. But yeah, continue.
That to the extent that I have the fauna.
Let's discuss that. For all these megafauna to exist, what was the environment like for them, and what was the competition for animals to get that large? It means they've got to have a successful diet. And that means lots of smaller game to feed on. It had been abundant for them to reach that size. It raises a host of other questions.
An enormous biomass to support that many gigantic herbivores.
Yes.
And yet we're in the midst of an ice age.
Look at how big those are.
Yeah.
Look
That
at
Wow.
Look at how fucking big those are. Those are like 16 feet tall.
Holy shit. How tall is Randall? How tall is he?
Randall's, I think he's 6 foot.
Let's just go 6 foot.
We'll say
average.
6 foot.
Above average, right? I guess
Yeah,
average is like 5'9". I don't even know.
Yeah. That's fucking huge. Good God. All right, hit play.
The other question I had: how come when you were showing those maps of the globe, where all of this land was connecting into Asia and everything, why didn't they go over there? If people could come across that bridge, how come the animals didn't go across the bridge the other way? And why aren't they found all over there? Why are they just here?
No, they are found over there. In fact, some of the densest remains of mammoths are found washing up on the shores of the Arctic Ocean by Siberia. We're going to get into that.
I knew that about Siberia, but what about all these the megafauna? Were they also over there too?
Oh yeah. I mean, for example, mammoths ranged from unglaciated North America, both south of the ice sheet, and then up in the Yukon area and Alaska and the Bering Land Bridge, all the way across Europe and Asia, all the way across to the Atlantic Ocean. Yeah, I mean, they found mammoth remains have been found in England.
Yeah, so this not only wiped them out. We always talk about it in terms of like, well, it wiped them out in North America, but it
wiped out in Europe, all over the world.
Yeah,
all over the world. Now the question is, was it a simultaneous extinction all over the world? Maybe not, but the evidence that I've been looking at suggests that it probably was. And, we're looking at events here that once we get into exploring more specifically the nature of these events that occurred, it's likely that we're looking at a series of events. And within this series of events, there may have been a couple of spikes of enormous, extreme power, and then lesser of it. Just like if you have an earthquake, you may have precursor earthquakes leading up to the grand one. Just like when we look at major volcanic eruptions, like Mount St. Helens didn't just completely all of a sudden blow its stack. Krakatoa didn't just immediately all of a sudden. It pretty much gave months of forewarning. It started rumbling. It started degassing. It started becoming active prior to the major eruption. And then after the major eruption, you find a sort of a diminishing crescendo of aftershock type events, just like earthquakes will have aftershocks.
Okay, we got to stop.
And I think that's how
we got to get out of here.
Link in the description.
Link in the description. There will be more. We will cover more of this for sure. This is
I'm
Hey,
just gonna I'm gonna watch this right now. I'm just gonna hit play.
We may have Randall on the show someday.
I'm gonna try to get him on the show. I like
No,
Randall.
we will
Randall
have him on the show one day. I'm just
love
Well, I
putting
was
that
being
energy out there.
facetious. I was being facetious.
to talk to the other super chat about like it being too Netflix, the Graham Handcock presentation. I was expecting that. I didn't have a problem with it. I can see how people would, but if it steers people to his lectures,
Right.
and to
Yeah.
Randall's channel, that's all good. And I think they needed to do that. I hope they don't go the Ancient Aliens route. I hope they go a more serious route. But like they needed this had to be like really digestible to normies. That's why they did the Bimini Wall. I was like, really doing the Bimini Wall? There's so many other things you can do than the Bimini. But like they didn't
saving for season
go
2.
to India. They didn't really go to South America that much.
I would love to see India.
There is so much more. And if you haven't read the books, by all means, Fingerprints of the Gods, Magicians of the Gods, America Before, those books will blow your fucking mind. So Bradman for $20 says, and thank you very much. As a missionary, I've studied a lot of the Bible. The Old Testament is clear that people were a couple of feet taller pre-flood and could use more of their brains than they can now. The computers did not make us smarter as a species. No, it didn't. No, it's making us lazy. And Randall and Graham and others talk about that as well. It was like maybe we've lost something. They talk about it in the show. They talk about it on Joe Rogan. He's all, hey, I know it sounds crazy, but why not just talk about it? Like extrasensory perception. Maybe we were more in tune with things. How does a dog know you're coming home? Like 20 minutes before you get there? Like, how do dogs?
A little weird stuff.
How do dogs know there's a giant tsunami? How do animals know there's a giant tsunami coming? But they do.
They're in tune with nature, man.
In tune with nature.
They're all taking ayahuasca out there when we're not looking.
Disasters, expulsions from Eden, Noah and flood, destruction of the Tower of Babel, and Gomorrah. Yes, it does. Sodom and Gomorrah, found, by the way. They existed. $49.99. Darius Harvey, very interesting stream. Thank you. That's what they're supposed to. It's supposed to be interesting and entertaining. Not answering any questions. And you can come to your own conclusions and call all of us stupid.
Yeah.
That's fine. People call me stupid all the time. Stuff like this is why I enjoy SG1 so much. Alternate histories are very much my jam. Might have a reluctantly given Netflix some dosh. I share a password. I don't give them any money until Cuties is off that fucking, and I don't even think I will. Sherzo for $5. Yeah, I have not forgotten and will not forget Cuties. Nope.
Yeah, I have not paid for it in 2 years.
No, I haven't either. A bridge too far there. IWD for $5. The Earp Clanton McClowry feud was one of the first incidents of organized crime syndications going to war against dirty cops sent in by rival gangs. Huh. Yes.
Yeah.
But everybody was dirty back then. I mean, it was the Wild
West, man.
They were killing you for nothing. 1899 sucked, says Regions. I'm still going to check it out.
Oh, no. That looked cool, man.
Nina liked it, but a couple of other people said they hate it. We'll see. I'm looking forward to Troll. That's the one I want. I want a big giant troll crushing people. That's
I'm waiting for the Christian Bale movie.
I'm going to do a square up on this one, folks. I will do it from the road. So it'll probably be
on the road next week.
I'm going to be on the road. So like Wednesday night, look for it on this channel a little earlier. We won't do a 9 o'clock, but I'll come in and get the rest of these soups because Adam's got to go. Oh, just got one. Sorry, Adam. Hang on. Skyrim 96, $20 on the arguments I've heard is that one of the reasons all the large animals die because oxygen levels dropped. And my argument against that is, why is the largest animal to ever live alive right now the blue whale? Good question.
Hey.
And why did the elephants survive in Africa and the megafauna survive in Africa? And it didn't here. Like, what fucking something happened. And I think
Africa didn't get hit.
It didn't. And we should be investigating this. This is kind of important because it could happen again.
That's true.
It could happen again. I just gotta make sure. Oh yeah, we definitely got to describe Toxic Man Flu for $50. If you dig deep enough, you will eventually get to hell. You will know when you get there because the only music is Springsteen and Bon Jovi. That's right. This is a great series. Thanks for the stream. I sure miss Art Bell, but I'll take Gary, Adam, and Quarterback Garrett. Thank you, my friend. That's nice. Again, to everyone who left a super chat, this will be read. Oh, I got to get one more. Robert McDonald for $50. So between 1492 and 1992, humans went from not being able to go around the earth and being able to go to the moon, and the genetically same humans over the previous 150,000 years could not go from eating their own poop to making written language. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. We've been around for 300,000 years anatomically, anatomical humans, the ones that we are now. Same brain, same everything. But as Adam said earlier, one day we just got up and said, "Hey, dude, let's farm. Let's carve some giant."
Have you ever heard of agriculture?
Yeah. You want to?
I just made up the word.
You want to make a city? I just made up that word too.
Let's do it, bro.
So yeah, we'll get the rest on Wednesday evening. I will be somewhere in Arizona, hopefully. I'm trying to make. Well, no, I'm gonna go way past. I'm gonna try to because it's an 18-hour drive, and I want to do 14 in one day, so I don't have to do that much the next day.
Hey, I did 16.
Yeah,
16 and a half.
Oh, I think Ryan got to Indiana.
One shot
day. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
It was pretty rough. Yeah.
Oh, my wife finally stopped.
I was seeing threes
like an hour ago. Yeah, she's on her way to Wisconsin. So.
Oh, that's a drive.
Woo! Yeah, it is.
From Texas. Damn.
Yep. I'm going to San Diego, so I'm going back to Cali. Going back.
At least it's San Diego. It's like one of the at least it's not LA.
It's
or
nice
San Fran.
I will be going to LA for a minute, but I'm not staying there.
Good luck.
Staying there. I'm staying in San Diego near my mom. So thanks everyone for joining us tonight. I'm sorry if I didn't get to your super chat. I will Wednesday night, 7 or 8 Pacific. But keep an eye on this channel, the community section. I'll let you know. It'll be from a hotel room or my car where I'm sleeping. Sometimes I just go, fuck a hotel. I'll sleep in my car. So Quarter Black, anything you'd like to plug? Anything you got
tomorrow I'll be streaming on my locals channel, playing some more of the Forgotten City, which is a lot about Rome and Greek. And it's basically about a city built on top of a city, built on top of a city. It's pretty cool. And then obviously tomorrow, Monday, Based Half Monday, with Adam and the crew over on his channel. That's gonna be awesome. And Geeks and Gamers Tabletop, where we play D&D. That's what we're doing tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and tomorrow
we got
the video that we're releasing on the
we got to change the ending because Chapin got fired.
Oh yeah.
Got to put that on the end, so I'll make you a clip tonight.
Gonna drop that.
Yeah, it'll just be super quick at the end. I can think of something funny to say at the end. Ryan already has a video out. Jeremy already has a video out. I think they got him out around the same time. Jeremy, fucking low effort, Jeremy. A minute, dude.
Oh, come on, bro.
Make it short, Jeremy. Fortnite. At least Ryan gave us 4 minutes and 31 seconds. These fuckers. I love my Friday night type brothers and their wonderful
low effort videos.
Low effort content. So to get our intro for this was longer than that. By the way, if you want to hear our reaction to it, while Adam was making his delicious Crigler coffee, we talked about it for a few minutes in the beginning. Speaking of that delicious Crigler coffee, Adam, is there anything you would like to plug?
Well, I actually had my coffee ready and I was ready on time, but I was trying to get my camera to work. So I was here. I just I really need to figure this out because I I do a daily show. Monday
Yeah,
through
kind of
Friday.
important.
Yeah.
I kind of need my camera. I might have to like run to an electronics store tomorrow somewhere and get like.
Is it? Do you use the like a 4K?
Yeah, one of those like
Or it
4K
might
input
just-
cards.
Yeah, so it might have. It might be the. Try a different connection too, because sometimes those fart out.
Might need to reset it. Just like pull it out.
I have 4 slots, four inputs,
And you
and
tried them all. Yeah,
two of them don't work, and I haven't. The other ones haven't connected, and I don't know. It's kind of
Meta
annoying,
PC.
but well, no, I don't know. I don't even know how people even get sponsorships in general. But I just keep doing my thing, hoping maybe when someone will be like, "Hey, you're doing something." But anyway, what I am doing is I run a daily show Monday through Friday, and on Monday it's Bay Staff Monday. Quarter Black right up there. He joins me a bunch with Darth Call, Flawdzilla, George the Giant Slayer, and then Andreas Exertus, the craziest among us. He's fantastic. It is a great time. And then George joins me again on Tuesdays, where we talk a little more serious about political issues. And then I do interviews sometimes on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Fridays, I do a jam session and just kind of hang out with my chat, chill. I think this week I'm going to finally drop the nuclear bomb that is what actually happened between me and Tim. I'm sick of just not, people not understanding why I act the way I do when people bring Tim up, and I'm just like, like whatever. And they're like, oh, you're so butthurt. It's like, you know what? If you knew what I fucking dealt with, maybe you would understand. But anyway, KriglerCoffee.com, one of the freshest coffees you can get. I'm all about competition. I don't mind that other people have coffee. It's great. A lot of people love my coffee, so that speaks for itself. KriglerCoffee.com. Check it out.
Good things about your coffee. Nothing but good things. And
thank you.
Yeah, I love coffee.
Right? Coffee's amazing.
Coffee's fucking. It's the only reason my channel, like, it keeps this channel going. Believe me. Trust me. I'm looking forward to hearing that. I hope you are on the path you were meant to be on. Okay. So I just hope you do really well. And by the way, this is going to be a thing. This paranormal talk. Is going to be.
We haven't even talked paranormal though. I feel like we just I actually
scratching the surface.
Went back and listened to some of your EXO podcasts with Doomcock and like what you were doing before, because people kept saying like, oh, they're excited, they missed that show, and I was like, oh, I kind of want to hear about that, and like you guys get into some cool topics. I'm like, oh, this is dope. I'm all about it.
We're gonna get into some stuff, and I'll let you guys know more. Well, and I know more when I'm finished planning it. So. We're going to try to do it a little different. I mean, it's still going to be recorded live here on YouTube, be absolutely free for you to listen to. So that's the way it's going to be, but it's going to be a set time. It'll be on a schedule, and hopefully you guys will like it. And if you do, we'll do a lot more of it. If time allows. It's going to start out with we'll figure out, because I don't want to commit these guys without talking to them first, but like, we're shooting for weekly, but that might not happen at first. We have to kind of see how things work out, but we're shooting for weekly, and we'll eventually hopefully get there. And then this will be fun. This will be lots of fun, but we want this to be like more than YouTube, right? I want to put this on because like we can talk freely. I want to talk very freely here about that. That was always the hold back on the other shows. Like, YouTube was really clamping down on the paranormal, like really bad. It seems to have loosened up a little bit, but not enough to my liking. Yeah. It's always been the problem. So I think we found another place where we can go and do this, but still do it here too. And if it gets demonetized, I won't give a shit. I kind of don't anyway.
If it gets pulled, it gets pulled.
It gets pulled. That's the way it goes. Yeah. So thanks again, everyone. Thanks to the Nerdrotics. Thanks to Eric. And thanks to everyone who left a super chat donation. We will be back very soon with more of this. Talk more, all the Randall you could handle. We're going to be on Randall for a while, though, because there's a lot of shit to cover. And
it's a lot of Randall.
Really interesting.
I feel like we're just scratching the surface here.
Oh. Yeah, two episodes doesn't do enough. Not even
Yeah.
close.
Not even
All right.
close.
So thanks, guys, for coming on with me. Thanks, all
No
of
problem.
you. And go watch Jeremy and Ryan's videos about Bob Iger. Ciao.
Peace, chat.